Here is Goretti. It is moving in. It is strengthening as it moves in. Thank you for being with me. It is the 8th of January, a Thursday, 2026. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Goretti moving in with it. Very intense winds. As it strengthens, we'll have some winds in some spots over 100 miles per hour and very high snow totals with this. We're going to break it all down country by country in this video. All locations matter and the indirect impacts as well in parts of Southeast Europe. But here's that spin working in, just showing you that broad picture first. So this will be working in through the day today, tonight, into tomorrow, and then back behind it as we work our way into the weekend. Additional systems. So I want to bring this up. This is the start of a very active pattern. It's not something we don't see, but it is something that is going to be very active as we work our way right through the end of the month. Now here's a closer look, and if you're subscribed to this channel, I'll put out some additional updates. You'll get those notifications up first. Thank you for being part of this weather community, especially with something like this. Now this is a model. There's actually a little yellow in there. Those would be winds of about 90 miles per hour or over 140 kilometers an hour. This model showing that right in through here, a lot of those reds right back through the Channel Islands. We'll go country by country, as I mentioned, to get very specific. And there's the center of this, rolling right through Wales, England, headed toward the Netherlands as we work our way into tomorrow morning. Here's the deal, as it continues to make its way off toward the east, back behind it, strong winds across the North Sea coming across Denmark, but that pulls in some moisture. The backside, a significant snow parts of the UK. I'll show you those snow totals as well as we work our way in. Friday afternoon, the center of this sitting right over the Netherlands. Those strong winds that will be bringing in some of the additional rain and the very heavy snow in some spots. So going wide first, and then we'll zoom down. Here is Goretti moving in. The tail end of it all the way down through Spain. We'll show you these other sections in just a second. Do my best not to leave anyone out. And then you see this working in that spin, continuing to move in. It will be weakening, but pulling in that moisture. The orientation of this coming right through the channel really helps feed on the north side, that moisture coming across the North Sea. And then by the time we get into the weekend, you can see one system here, another system here. Additional name systems will be a possibility. That's why I appreciate you subscribing, because you could put your in the comments section your location, what you have going on as we build this weather community, help other people kind of know what's going on in an event like this. I'll be going through the comments throughout the day. So here it is this afternoon, these brighter colors, that's heavier rain, but very strong winds in that. We'll be seeing that just skirting by parts of Ireland over toward Wales, back into England, heavier weather, France, northern coast, of course, which I'll break down. We'll be seeing some of the higher winds, heavier rain tonight working into Belgium, starting to pull back to parts of Germany and the Netherlands. And then, as I mentioned, as the center continues to work toward the Netherlands, what's going to happen is not only just broad significant weather, but the backside of it in north side, Czechia over toward Germany, even Denmark, some snow, but there's that sliver of snow. Now here's the deal with this. This band of snow, this kind of whiter shading right in here, will be significant. That's the setup, because it pulls in some of that moisture and wraps it around, but it will also be a fine line. One location, maybe not a whole lot at all. I try to really keep it in perspective. Not all of us are going to be feeling this, but other locations, you go just a town, a city over, could have some very significant snow totals, and we'll cover those snow totals in just a second. Then that spin as we work our way into Saturday diminishes, but then we'll be watching out for additional rain and the possibility of more spin-ups back toward the Atlantic Sunday into next week. So going country by country, doing my best to keep everyone covered. You can see Ireland, and keeping it in perspective, Northern Ireland, just northern sections, not nearly as much, right? This is going to be mainly southern sections and right along the coast, but that's where we could have some of the winds, 75 to 90 miles per hour, very significant gusts, significant rain. We'll monitor for a little bit of snow, the impacts lasting, especially as we work our way into tonight, into early tomorrow. Now, as we work our way across the UK, now Scotland, for example, there'll be some gusty winds, there'll be some snow, watching out for some icing, but southern sections, again, Wales and England, that's where some of the winds could be around 80 to 95 miles per hour. Some of the gusts, I look at a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Some of the gusts could even be higher than that. So we'll be pressing 100 miles per hour depending on your exact location and elevation. So giving you the heads up on that, a very significant event. And then, as I mentioned on the backside, England, parts of Wales, a significant snow that we'll be dealing with. The Channel Islands will have some of the winds 90 to about 105 miles per hour. This is on the high end, and this is a non-hype channel. But I put the high end in an event like this because safety comes first. We need to be prepared for that. Hopefully it's less. And I do believe the Channel Islands, it'll be a little bit less than this for the winds, but nonetheless, very strong winds. So where the core of this goes, where it goes, we're going to be seeing some power outages, no doubt. So we've been getting prepped for that. Northern sections of France, again, big difference versus southern sections. I'll show you though some of the rain sweeping through for almost all. Northern sections along the coast, some of those winds, again, some of the gusts could be as high as 100 miles per hour. Monitoring that, and then all of this works toward the Netherlands. I believe the center of this will end up right on top of the Netherlands. We're going to have some of the winds 80 to 95 miles per hour and a rather long duration event. This isn't just kind of a half a day thing. We're looking at a solid day and a half, maybe a little bit more of really strong winds. That'll lend itself to some power outages watching the Netherlands and Belgium. North side back toward Denmark. Strong winds, no doubt, some snow, but again, higher impacts to the Netherlands and Belgium as this moves in. And you can see the south side of it. So here it is. Here's Goretti moving in, and there's that significant rain pulling back toward France as we go throughout the day, and then trying to clip parts of Spain. You see it here with some of that rain, but there's the heavy rain, of course, those strong winds, northern sections of France, but swinging through central and southern sections, some of the additional rain, and this will pile up some of that snow. Switzerland and Austria, we're going to see additional very high snow totals, and then a lot of this moisture, as I was mentioning in yesterday's video, with that flow, you got that spin up there, it enhances the rain and snow. So you get back toward Italy, back toward the Balkans, we're going to be dealing with a significant snow in some spots, so monitoring that. And you see it, North Macedonia, Montenegro, again, just putting a few of these names on the map on this view. Greece, some additional rain, watching Albania, so monitoring that, and then some additional rain trying to shoot in, and we'll watch those other systems that may take a little bit more of a southerly route as we work our way into the next working week. Now, looking at some of the snow and what we could expect going forward, here's the broad picture. So you get over toward the UK, for example, swinging back toward the Alps. These are snow totals taking us through the weekend into early next week, just to give us kind of a feel of how much we could get. You could see here, and again, I mentioned this backside. This gives us a feel, but it's that fine line back through England and Wales. So you can see this model showing the core of this, upwards of 25 centimeters of some of that snow, but with that fine line. Maybe this is a little bit more over here, maybe it's a little bit more down here. It's going to be a wait and see just as this moves in, but this gives us the good handle of the potential of that, and we're going to see some spots that get anywhere from about 15 to 25 centimeters of snow. North side, as I mentioned, over towards Scotland, some lesser impacts, but still some spots upwards of about 10 centimeters of some of that snow that we'll be watching as we go forward. Then in through here, I showed you as that spin works across toward the Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark. We're watching Germany for some of that snow. Austria, Switzerland, you could see some of that additional snow. We could see some spots over 50 centimeters, especially as we swing back right through this core in through here. A little bit of snow as well as we work our way back toward Italy, and some additional rain and additional snow, as I mentioned, as we swing back toward the Balkans, which I'll show you in just a second. Colder than average weather in these blues as we go through the weekend into next week. Makes sense with that system moving in, wrapping around some of that cold weather. Norway in particular, some gusty winds at times. Norway, Sweden, and Finland also monitoring. So let's take you around and show you the rain totals in this. If everything was equal and everything was liquid, this is the rain. So where we have the rain, we're going to have those spots, as I was showing you earlier, 75 to about 100 millimeters of rain, but that's snow of high concern, where some of those snow totals will be upwards of about 20 centimeters of some of that snow. So watching that additional rain through parts of France and Andorra, watching that, just clipping by northern Spain over toward Portugal. Higher totals though as far as some of this rain is concerned, watching that, but some of this again mixed in with some snow, watching Romania, Serbia, Bosnia for some additional rain. Hungary, not as much, watching over towards Slovakia, not a lot of action, more of it's to the south, kind of Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia south, Montenegro, Albania, Greece, watching out for additional rain, additional snow as we monitor that. And then with this area moving in here, not a ton for Finland, Sweden, and Norway, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, not a whole lot, a little bit more Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia with a mix of some rain and snow the next few days. So the snow depth, we are really going to add on to that. We'll be watching how these maps change as we go forward. Not only the snow depth, but the overall coverage of snow as this moves in. Some new spots will be getting some snow, the first significant snow of the winter season. So we'll see how this adds up, but we are going to see these much higher totals in through here. With this spin working in through here, we'll see those additional snow totals really starting to stack up. So this English Channel storm, Goretti, it is moving in. One of the issues is it's getting stronger as it moves in. That always kind of makes them a more, obviously getting stronger is more dangerous, but that's why we really got to prepare their kind of very active systems as they work in. So we're bracing for those winds, the power loss, and the active pattern after Goretti, as I showed you out in the Atlantic, either additional areas to watch or additional named storms to watch, and that's what we'll be tracking together on this channel. So thank you for your patience as we've been tracking this for the last several days together. I know there's a lot to cover. Really appreciate the comments and you helping out others, letting others know what's going on across where you live, just to give everyone a handle. So thank you for being part of this weather community. Be safe with Goretti. Have a good rest of your day.